Welcome to Living from the Heart. I am your host, Tina Thrussell, also known as Woman Who Dances with Light. I am the co-founder of Best You Can Be and the messenger of the Shin Dao, the Way of the Heart. I am absolutely honored today to have my guest, Satyen Raja, on the show. I believe I first met Satyen about 2 decades ago. And he was my very first spiritual teacher. I have learned so much from him over the years as his student, as a volunteer on his team with the Warrior Sage programs, and now as a colleague in the Evolutionary Business Council. What I admire most about Satyen is the fact that he has the power to influence and yet the wisdom to do so with love. Welcome to the show, Satyen.
Oh, Tina, thank you so your wonderful welcome. Very much appreciated. I really enjoy all the years yourself and your husband have. We've had such a joyful interaction and connection and co-sharing. Very honored. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no words for how honored I am that you are here on the show with me today. You know, one of the big lessons that Neil and I took away from working with you was this message to do everything with love. I cannot tell you how foundational that has been for us in our personal lives, in the work that we do, and in bringing the Shin Dao, the way of the heart, to the world. Do you still promote that message? Is that something you're still bringing into the world?
I think this is the message of the great wisdom masters of all time. All the great beings who have experienced and have attained and have realized the absolute joy, the joy of the divine, the joy of our unity. It starts to happen, because anything else causes suffering. To not offer, to not share, to not interact with love only reinforces separation, reinforces siloing, reinforces our ego. Yet when we're able to open, there's a philosophy or not a philosophy, but more of an insight I've had that, many people come to me with all types of, hey, look at this miracle, this thing can do this. And they try to impress me with miracles in the world, metaphysical miracles. And the biggest miracle I've discovered is opening your heart when it's really difficult to do so.
I would so agree.
We can manifest, we can do those things, seem all miraculous, but really that's the higher powers, our higher intention at work. But to open when others have upset us, have wronged us, when we have negative charge against others, this to me is the real miracle. And it's a cultivation, it's a lifetime practice. And what are the values of opening and doing things with love? It's in itself its own value. There's no why. There's not because it will. There'll be many side effects, positive, but that's not the reason why. It's for its own sake. So not only is it my current message, it'll be the message on this planet for all beings, I believe, for all time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We are coming to a place of people awakening to the understanding that it has to be love first. Love is the only way. Love is the answer for every question. Love is what will bring peace to our planet. Love is what brings us to that place of, as you said, that place of unity and oneness. When we're not approaching someone with love, indeed, we do create separation. And there is nothing that I want to see on this planet more, is people operating from a place of love, feeling joy in their heart, and bringing peace to the planet by having peace within themselves.
You just hit it right on the nail. It's like when we have that love within ourselves and we're able to extend it and feel and approach and offer love in our interactions. We have, some of us have ideas that it's got to be gushy love or warm love or fuzzy love. And love can have many infinite flavors and looks. As we know, we tough love when we need to be disciplined and firm with those that are going off ethic or offline with their core intent. We can have that fierce love. I have that once in a while with my family members because I've got that level of relating. But love is not a look. Love is the source of, and love is the guiding force of our external actions when we allow it. So we can say, yes, love is the solution to everything, but it's coming to love that is the source of clean solutions, conscientious solutions, symbiotically aware solutions. You know, I believe that the number one problem we have on this planet as a whole is the lack of recognition and realization of our symbiotic unity love relationship. It's like a cancer cell. A cancer cell is part of the body, but in its deepest programming at the DNA level, it forgets that it's part of the whole, and therefore starts to voraciously eat all the nutrients around itself, growing itself, thinking, I'm getting healthy, I'm getting strong, independently strong, eventually not knowing that as it grows, it's going to choke off its own blood supply and kill itself. That's the error of being in this consciousness which feels separate and stuck and me and my and what's right and this one. But love opens the door to re-establish the awareness that we are symbiotically related. We are symbiosis itself. And that to me is macro love, the awakening to our symbiotic true relationship with all existence. I cannot live without you. You cannot live without me. This is a co-sharing of all species, all the air, the land, the sea, the elements is in constant like this. And to me, this is the force of love in movement. All it takes is remembering that and then standing in it and saying, I am that and nothing less.
Absolutely. You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about the 12 tenets of the Shin Tao. We have 12 basic principles to live by. And one is to treat all life as sacred, which is what you were describing there so beautifully.
Beautiful.
If we don't treat all life as sacred, whether it's plant, animal, insect, other human beings, you know, I had the most, excuse me, I get so excited about this. Had the most amazing experience. I was out walking in the forest one day. We have this big, beautiful park just south of Calgary. And I could hear this huge, like, whack, whack. It was a resounding whack sound. And I thought, oh my goodness, that sounds like somebody is hitting a tree. And sure enough, I came up and there were these 3 young kids. They were probably 8, 9, 10 years old. And one of them had this big stick and he was just hammering on this tree. And I thought, oh, there was an instant trigger for me because trees are such precious life. And I remembered, do everything with love. And so I quietly walked towards the group and they sort of noticed that I was coming. And I stood a distance away from them and I said, I would invite you to consider that just as it would hurt you to be hit with a stick, that tree is a living entity just like you are. And it probably feels that big whack with that stick. And I just invite you to consider that. And they stopped and they were silent for a moment. And they kind of looked at each other. And then one of the kids said, you know, that makes sense. And I just smiled and I said, I invite you to consider it. And I walked away and the forest was silent. It was so beautiful. And it could have been so different, right? I could have let that trigger take me into that, what are you guys doing? Do you have any idea? Right? Could have been in that energy, but being in that energy of love delivered the message in a way that it was received.
Yes.
So beautiful. So I thank you for that lesson. That goes back decades.
You know, the carrier wave of love is contact. Love within myself is beautiful, but contained within myself, others might not know. But when I reach through, like you did to those boys, and I'm sure there was a moment, like you said, you could have gone the way of the trigger or the way of the heart. Yes. And that crucial element is the place that I'm inviting us all to become more aware of. It's the subtle moment where we could go this way or we can bloom. We all have that moment, that divine choice center. And so I'm going to invite everyone to nourish, love, respect, and listen to that spot that makes us go that way or this way. That's the doorway. That's the key. That's the empowerment of love, which is our choice.
Absolutely. Yes. So beautifully said. So beautifully said. So, Satyen, where do you see yourself heading in the future? I mean, Warrior Sage was a huge part of the work that you were bringing to the world with these live events. And now I know there's a Warrior Sage community on Facebook. You're certainly reaching out to big influencers through the Evolutionary Business Council and the teachings that you're offering there. Where else are you going? How else are you bringing this message of love into the world?
Well, Warrior Sage it's our 20th year anniversary we're celebrating, and it's continued to evolve. So it continues to magnify in the world. And our public work now is we've created 3 free complimentary at-home seminars, and they're available at our warriorsage.com website. And one of them is called Relationship Activation. It's a half-a-day workshop. Another one is called Abundance Activation, all on enlightened wealth. And another one is called Enlightened Power Activation. So it's about enlightenment and empowerment. So these 3 are available for download for free. And you just go to warriorsage.com, you'll see the information there. And the purpose of it is so that people can bring their friends, their family members, colleagues to a Saturday, some evening or Sunday, and have a gathering where they can do this guided practice. It's all totally guided. All you need to know is how to hit play. And if you know that, then the whole day is guided. And what happens is there's a transformation, very powerful transformation that goes on in your small community. The idea, and we call these dojos, coming from the warrior philosophy of dojo is a place where you train martial arts.
Yes.
These are Warrior Sage dojos where you train up leveling your mind, your heart, your being. And it's absolutely free. There's nothing to buy. There's no upsells or anything like that. We've done that this year to really support the growth of conscious communities. I found personal growth workshops are amazing, but when you have friends that continue together and have date nights where you're training and you're developing together, it's such a binding, bonding, warming feeling and then what happens is everyone arises together, not just in their own world. So that's our Warrior Sage community. You can find all about that and be welcome to that. And then my personal work is like this. It's empowering leaders. I truly feel we as leaders are the ones that can either destroy the world or we are the ones that can bring beauty and magnificence to this planet and this world. And so my main focus has been now to train business leaders, social leaders, and helping them dial into what they need to be and who they need to be to make the greatest level, world level impact. So I'm very honored, blessed, and humbled to be in that role right now. And as that matures in the world and as it grows in the world.
It's an important role because, as you say, the leaders of our world have the opportunity to really influence the masses. And if they're not conscious about how they're making that influence, the results can be less than ideal. So,
you know, as leaders, we have to learn to lead ourselves. And to me, what is a leader? It's someone who chooses that I'm here to make an impact for the better. It's someone who chooses to be of influence to others. Whether that choice came, whether you chose it or not even, it could have been by default that you took on a job or it was given to you. Well, there's a Kung Fu philosophy my martial art teacher said at the very beginning years ago when I was a teenager. He says, when given the opportunity to lead, lead. Don't think about it too much. Am I good enough, not good enough? You're going to have those thoughts for the rest of your life. Am I ready enough? Do I have all the capacity? All of those, yeah, buts, whys, they'll go on and on. Yeah. Put them aside. When given the opportunity to lead, lead. And it's you're just throwing yourself into the deep end. Bruce Lee said, you can't learn how to swim in the shallow part of you can't learn how to swim on dry land.
Right.
So we can get all the education knowledge, but you need to go into the water. So true leadership, how do you cultivate it? You put yourself in the position of leading from your heart connected with love. And then your wisdom will grow. Your capacity will grow. Your empowerment will grow. And then if you want to learn, get a quick course on how to become self-empowered and empower others, download the Warrior Sage Power Activation Training. You'll get a PhD in a day on it, okay?
And you know, having done Warrior Sage work, yeah, you do. You get a PhD in a very short period of time. It's intense, it's powerful work. It's, you know, you've brought the best of so many teachers who have gone before us and brought the best from all of those teachers into what you're bringing into the world. And it makes for very, very powerful work. When people are actively engaged in the message that's being delivered, you know, it's not just somebody standing at the front of the room and yakking at you, but an opportunity to truly experience what we're talking about. That is when the big shifts happen. That's when true transformation happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, in as a martial artist and being in that world, it's your practice that grows you. Knowledge is wonderful and important. You need to get knowledge, but you got to get on the floor and practice. And so all of my events have always been around interactive practices that grow us. Less lecturing, more about interactive practices that grow specific capacities. And I feel very strongly about that because it's in the practice that we develop capacity.
And I feel strongly about that too. Having been a student in both kinds of environments, oh my gosh, takes so much more long term that stays with you forever in that interactive, engaging scenario by a long shot. Yeah, yeah. Wow, I'm looking at the time and going, wow, it's ticking by so quickly. If you had one message that you wanted to offer our viewers, our listeners, what message would you want to deliver right now?
You know, you shared about love. We shared deeply. We went into love today and doing things from love, which it's so like the essence. In this warrior sage philosophy, I have 5 elements that I'd love to share in summary, in the essence of them. The first one is enlightened power. We can go from the ego's power to sharing power to awakening true power. And to find our true power, we have to find what is our deepest vision for being here? What am I here truly for? And to do that, I want to give a real practical, daily dial-in self-inquiry question. And that to me is, and this is what I use to navigate and guide my highest, how do I know what my highest priority is? How do I know what to do today, this week, this month, this year? This is the guiding sentence that I ask myself. And it's this: what must I do today to love, live, and die completely without any regret?
That's a powerful question.
I'll ask it again. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask your response, Tina. I'm going to ask everyone listening to really contemplate and share it in the open or write it down, your response, and I'll share mine. So it's not just a one-time thing you do. I use this to dial myself in daily. So I come to the most important thing of life, not at the end of the day, after I finish work, but I start with the most valuable centering in life. So I'll ask it again. What must I do, you do, we do today to live, to love, and to die completely without regret? For me, there's a communication I need to have with recently I lost a friend of mine, and I'm going to be chatting with his mom. And so what I can do is to really give my deepest love, really be a good listener, not interject my ideas or thoughts, and just really hold the space for a beautiful person to just express. That's the pinnacle of what I must do today, to live, love, and die completely without regret.
Mm,
There's one particular conversation I know I gotta have.
nice.
So I'm gonna do that with this depth of how I know I need to approach it. So please, I'd love to ask you.
Beautiful. Okay. I need to be an open channel, a receiver transmitter for the messages that come through from source. I have a client who's coming in for what I call a Shindao session, a heartway session. And not knowing what will be put on the table, what comes forward, what she will need, rather than my intellectually deciding what is in her highest good. I have to be completely open to allow that divine flow to guide me as to what is the best action to take, which sound tool to use, what voice activation to use, whatever might come forward in that session. And then to continue and carry that openness to being that receiver transmitter of love and divine messages as I step into my evening when my husband comes home from work and my neighbor comes over, who's relocating to another province at the end of this week. And this will probably be our last opportunity to sit and visit with her. So to be open to whatever the right words are to say, or the right listening, as you described, is best suited to serve her. This is what I must do to live, love, and die complete today.
Beautiful. And everyone who's watching and listening, you have yours. Soul fulfillment happens when we follow through with this.
Absolutely.
And that's true love and freedom that ripples to all beings.
Indeed, it does. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Well, by golly, we're like here at the end of our time already. I invite everyone to tune in again next week when we do the Living from the Heart show. I invite people to go back and watch previous episodes that are on our YouTube channel, that are on the Best You Can Be blog. This video will be posted there as well, so people can come back and watch time and time again. And again, I have to thank you, Satyen, for taking time out of your really busy schedule to be here and deliver this message of love with the world through this show and to our viewers. And my question is, just as a parting question, so how do we bring more joy into our lives?
Well, you know, it's the same thing I'm going to share. Asking that question of yourself. Fulfilling what arises by action will bring the joy.
Beautiful, beautiful message. Oh, thank you, Satyen. Thank you for your time. Blessings to you and the work that you're bringing into the world. And I look forward to seeing you potentially at the next EBC Deep Diver Conference.
Beautiful.
In the meantime, be well. Love to
Thank you, love. All my love to you, to Neil, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And much love to everyone who's participated today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.